What is up, guys? Alan from TLG here, making my own Marvel Cinematic Universe tier list. So, last night, as of right now, I'm recording this. Last night, me, Blake, and Kevin, we did our tier lists last night in the stream. And so, obviously, those two were able to, talk about where they put their movies in each of these tier lists. Well, obviously, theirs were different, but you know what I mean. And so when I got to my part doing the tier list, for some reason during the stream, my headset sort of got unplugged, and because of it, there was no audio coming from like coming from my side, and because of it, you guys can't hear me, explaining why I put some of these movies in their placements. So I figured, you know what, why not make my own recording of me doing the tier list again, but this time, you guys can actually hear me and hear the reasons why I put each of the movies in their perspective tiers. So, yeah, this is gonna be fun. Recently we just finished watching the MCUs with Blake, and we wanted to do a tier list, and so we did it. And I'm really excited to do my tier list because, oh boy, it's just, I don't know, I just feel accomplished, just where I rank these movies. So, obviously, over here we got S for God tier, A for amazing, B for great, C for good, D for okay/meh. So, let's get started. So I'm probably gonna start off with I'm probably gonna do it in theatrical order. So like we'll go from Iron Man all the way to Spider-Man: Far From Home, which is the latest MCU movie. So we'll do it in that way. So let's start off with the first Iron Man, and I'm gonna put it in the great section because it is the first movie that kicks off the MCU, and Robert Downey Jr. does a great job playing as Tony Stark. It sort of captures the characteristics about him. He's like a multi-millionaire playboy, and it's just it's so fun seeing him on the screen, and him just sort of like him getting kidnapped, building the Iron Man suit to escape, and then sort of realizing that he can maybe help the world a bit by making his own suit and like help people that need help. It's just I really do like that, and I think like the one thing that I don't like about it is like the third act a little bit because it's sort of like you have like Iron Man versus Ironmonger, so it's like Obadiah Stane in the iron suit, and so while I thought the fight was cool, I just felt like I just wish there was a little bit more interesting in the fight, like maybe like Obadiah Stane did something a bit more interesting rather than just sort of have like two heroes of sort of like Iron Man versus another Iron Man in a way, but like a bigger buff Iron Man. So that's kind of like I don't really like the third act, but other than that, the whole movie is so fun to watch, and I have no problems watching it again and again. So yeah, that's why I would put Iron Man in the great section. All right, next up, Incredible Hulk. Oh, it's gonna go in the D tier for me because I only seen it twice, and that's pretty much about it with this movie because I feel like it's this one of those type of movies to where I just need to see it like once or twice, and then I don't really need to rewatch it again because I don't know. It's just I never really like. I think Hulk to me is like he's sort of like like one of those heroes I'm not really like a big fan of. So just watching this movie, like it is cool to see the Hulk in action, like him sort of like taking down like tanks and the military, and then of course towards near the end you have the final battle with him against Abomination. But I don't know, like I just felt like this movie didn't really have that many comedic moments in there as I wanted to because it was mostly serious from beginning to end. And I get that, I don't mind serious movies, but I don't know, just for some reason this one just kind of bored me a little bit. And so that's why I say it's okay, man. It's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie at all. It's just I just think it's just meh to me. So yeah. All right, next up, Iron Man 2. It's gonna go in the good category because I mean I think Iron Man 2 like it does kind of have like a step down from the first Iron Man because originally like I thought Iron Man 2 was better than Iron Man, but after rewatching Iron Man again, like the first Iron Man, a couple of days ago, I kind of changed my mind and I was like, you know what? I think Iron Man 2 is like it's sort of is not like Iron Man 1 in a way because I just felt like how they handled with Tony, how he kind of has like like he's like obviously dying because of the palladium poisoning, and he's sort of like living his life, and it just doesn't really like I don't just don't really find it like interesting to see. And then also like you got the part where like him and Rhodey are like fighting in Tony's house, and while it was a cool fight scene, it just sort of felt like one of those moments to where it's like, oh, it's like it's like, oh, it's just two best friends just duking it out, and because one's drunk and they're like fighting, and I don't know, I just didn't like that scene. At the same time, like in terms of like action, it was cool, but in terms of like why they were fighting, it's just I don't know, I just didn't like that at all. And obviously, of course, we got like two good great villains. We got like Whiplash and Justin Hammers, which those two working together is just so funny. Especially Justin Hammers, like shout out to him because he's such a great comedic villain. Like it's just so fun to see him on screen, which is surprisingly because I like to see him more on screen than Iron Man, but I don't know. It's just so fun watching him. And also, it was really cool to get the introduction of Black Widow into the MCU. Seeing her, having like some role in there a little bit because she's sort of like in disguise working in Stark Industries and just sort of like seeing like how if Tony would be fitting for the Avengers Initiative. So I found it really cool. So yeah, that's why I think it should be in the good section. Like I know this movie gets a lot of flack because it's kind of like the weakest Iron Man movie in the trilogy, and I kind of agree. But I still think it's a good movie. I still think maybe sometimes I may want to watch it just for the hell of it, just for some comedic moments, and just for Justin Hammers, of course. All right, next up, Thor. It's gonna go in the D's here, just like the Incredible Hulk, because Thor again, like Thor's a really cool hero, but I don't know, it's just something about it. It's just sort of like one of those movies that I already seen before, to where it's like, oh, it's just a person from another world coming to Earth and sort of like acting like what the hell's going on here? And I don't know, like there was like some comedic moments there too in Thor, to where they have that one scene where Thor is in the cafe and he's drinking coffee, and then he's like another, and then he smashes the mug. Like I thought that scene was fucking hilarious, but I don't know. It's just there's just not that many interesting moments in Thor to me, to where I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like maybe the closest thing would probably be like towards maybe like near the end of the movie, where it's like him fighting a bit with the destroyer, and then um him fighting Loki. Like I thought that was really cool, but I just felt like the middle part sort of just dragged a bit on to me. Like because I don't know, it just didn't really capture my attention that much. And obviously, once we get to the third Thor movie, that's where things get a lot better. So I don't know. And also, I will give props to the relationship between Thor and Jane Foster. I think those two, they look pretty adorable on screen together, and it's just really awesome seeing them as like sort of like a couple. But that's just my opinion. All right, now the big one, Avengers. It's going in the A tier. Man, five of these. Oh, actually, okay. You know what? I'll keep Avengers up there because I just remembered there was one other movie I forgot to put in. Captain America: The First Avenger. We'll put it in the good tier. And Captain America, I mean, Iron Man's probably my favorite hero, but behind Iron Man would probably be Captain America, because Captain America, like, I do really love his origin story. Like, how he's like a scrawny kid from Brooklyn. He wants to join the military because he wants to help defend like the country, and also like I think like there was like one point where he says like he doesn't like bullies and stuff, and I really do like that because he's sort of like a man that's like wants to prove that he's like sort of like he wants to help people as well. Like he doesn't want anyone to push him down, and he wants to get up and try to fight back in a way. And so I really do like about his character. And when he got the super soldier serum, it's like, oof, now we get to see the real, strength of Captain America. And just seeing that one scene where he's like chasing that guy from Hydra in downtown, it's like a really cool scene. Like there's like a lot of great scenes in this movie, but I still think it's a good movie because, again, it's like one of those movies that I'll watch a couple of times, but then that's kind of about it. And that's pretty much it on it. And also like the fact of him and Bucky's relationship, like those two seeing these two together on screen, like it's just really nice to see just two friends just chilling out before obviously Bucky dies. And well, as we thought he died in like the train part where he fell off into like in the snowy cliffs and stuff, and it sort of felt hard for Steve that he lost his friend because he couldn't save him in time. But yeah, that's kind of it on first Avenger, and then going back to the Avengers, Avengers, we have all these five movies leading up to one big movie being Avengers, and I just thought it's a really amazing movie, like seeing all those characters interacting, all coming together to stop a big foe being Loki is I thought it's like really cool. I will say like the first part of the movie, like at the beginning where you see Nick Fury and the others at the Shield base, or not Shield base, but it was like somewhere else. I forgot where they were like testing out the Tesseract and stuff. I felt like that was a little bit too slow to me. Like I felt like it dragged on a little bit, but other than that, I think from the entirety of the movie, it's really good. There's a lot of great moments. There's the part where Thor and Iron Man are fighting in the forest, and then Cap shows up, and then he says you got to put the hammer down, and then Thor charges at Captain America, and then bam, he hits Mjolnir on the shield, and then causes like a shock wave and stuff. So that's really cool. And then there's like a part where again they're all come together in New York. They're all like, all right, we gotta you know defeat Loki and kill all the aliens, and then just that one circle moment is just one of the most iconic scenes in the MCU history. Like it's just really awesome. Like every time I watch that scene, I get goosebumps because it's just like, oh man, just this is it. This is it. We all wanted to see this, and here it is. Seeing all our favorite heroes about to beat shit up. So, yeah, Avengers, it's amazing. So, all right, next up, Iron Man 3. I'm gonna put it in the good category. And again, like I said earlier, Iron Man 3 was originally gonna be my favorite Iron Man, but again, watching Iron Man, I prefer the first one over the third one. But I think the third one's better than the second one. And I really do like the whole thing that it sort of says like in the movie description, saying like, what does like, does the man make the suit or does the suit make the man? And I really do like what Tony does in this movie, to where like he doesn't really need to rely on the suit that much. Like he sort of like thinks outside the box, like mostly like in the middle part where he gets like in some part of like a small town or so, and then like he's fighting off this woman, and he sort of uses the stuff in the house to trying to fight her back. And so I really thought it's a really cool idea. And then obviously, of course, near the end of the movie, where you got all the suits coming together, like all the suits that Tony builds, because you never knew like when he's gonna need all those suits to fight against another alien invasion or something. And so seeing all the suits coming in, and then Tony switching between suits to fight off Aldrich's minions, it's really cool. I really did like that. And then obviously the one thing I did not like about it is obviously the Mandarin plot twist, to where oh, it's just like they sort of bring him the Mandarin, like sort of like, oh shit, like this is some guy we don't want to fuck with. But no, it's just some random junkie that's playing as the Mandarin, just so it's sort of like keeping like Aldrich like traps behind him, like basically like sort of covering for him, so that way they don't immediately find him. And so it just kind of felt a bit lame to me. Like, damn, I felt like that would have been a great part to have like the Mandarin be like a serious type of villain, and then Tony would have to think like like how is he gonna beat this guy. And then forgot to mention this in Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, but the relationship between Tony and Pepper Potts is just amazing. It's really beautiful seeing these two together, and especially towards near the end, to where Aldrich, they thought they killed, or like Tony thought he killed Aldrich, but then Pepper comes in and she like gets in the suit and like blasts him. That's a really awesome scene. That's like a kick-ass scene to me. So that's kind of my thoughts on Iron Man 3. Alright, next up, Thor: The Dark World. Never really was a big fan of this one. I mean, it was better than Thor 1 in my opinion, but I just don't think it's like a good movie. I just think it's still okay, and man, like it's better than Thor, but it's still like not like it's still not a good or great Thor movie at the end of the day. So, and it kind of sucked because at that time, we had two Thor movies, and both of them were just okay. And man, I mean, maybe there were a few people that did like these movies, and that's great. So if any of you guys are watching this that you guys love Thor 1 or Thor The Dark World, then props to you, but I just think these two movies are just meh. So, and obviously I think I probably would say like one of the funny parts in Thor The Dark World is the part where, Thor and Loki are walking down a hallway, and then Loki, he like transforms into different people, and then he transforms into Captain America, and it's just so funny. It's so hilarious seeing that. Like it was just like, damn, Loki, you son of a bitch. And then of course Loki's death, like obviously we. I mean, for me at first I thought he was like actually dead, but it turns out no, he's not dead. And we see him at the end where he sort of pretends to be Odin, and now he's like the king of Asgard. So I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, it's just really not that memorable to me. So that's pretty much it on Thor: The Dark World. Next up, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Amazing. I love Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It's such an amazing film. I rewatched it like times and times again. Like it's like one of those movies that's just so fun to watch. I love the whole espionage type of film to where it sort of feels like a James Bond movie, but with Captain America and Black Widow, and Falcon included as well. And also again, like seeing Captain America, Black Widow. I know I keep saying this with some of the couples like Thor, Jane, Tony, and Pepper, but again, Captain America and Black Widow, they look really cute together. Like just seeing that one scene where they were at the mall and they were trying to hide from Hydra, and then they kissed in the escalator because they were like, oh, people get awkward when they see someone making out and stuff, and so it was a really cool scene, a really touching scene. And obviously Nick Fury dies, and I'm like, Jesus, what the fuck? And so he dies because he's like has something that he doesn't want the people at Shield, in which case Hydra, they don't want them to find out. And I thought that was really cool. And then also we see Bucky as the Winter Soldier, sort of like being under control of Hydra, and seeing like the scene near the end to where you have Captain America versus the Winter Soldier, like Cap versus Bucky. It's just like it sort of feels like an intense moment to me, in my opinion, because it's like two best friends fighting, but one's fighting for the good and the other one's fighting for bad. But again, it's mostly because he's under control. It's not just he's doing this willingly. It's because that's what Hydra wants him to do. And so Cap's like, I just can't do it. And so he sort of like lays down and like Bucky punches him, and you know, and when he saves Cap from drowning, I thought that was a really good scene because he's like he does care about Cap because it's somewhere in his mind. He's like, well, Hydra's controlling me. I still have some heart that there's something about this guy that I have some relevance to, and I thought that was a really good moment in there. And he just sort of leaves, and we don't see him till Civil War. And so yeah, everything about this movie I find it really awesome, and the introduction of Falcon is really cool. Seeing him in action with him working with Captain America, I thought it was awesome. All right, Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm gonna put it in the great category. Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like a really fun movie to watch as well. Like it has a lot of funny moments in there too, but not as much as the second one, which obviously we'll get to the second one later. But it's just awesome seeing Star Lord, seeing like how at the beginning of the movie he lost his mom in the hospital because had a brain tumor, which again it explained in Guardians 2. But I just felt really bad for Peter because he just lost his mom, and losing a mom just it hurts a lot. And so he just runs out of the hospital. He gets abducted by the Ravengers, and then yeah, pretty much the rest of his life he's been hanging out in space with the Ravengers. And he gets the Power Stone, and then he sort of brings it to Xandar. Then he meets up with Gamora, and then Rocket and Groot, and then eventually they all go to jail. They meet Drax, and then they all break out, and then we got a really cool adventure seeing these guys together interacting with each other. Which obviously at first they're not like getting along, but it just makes it so fun. I just really love seeing like Rocket like sort of like that type of asshole. Like he's kind of like a likable asshole to me, to where he's like mean to everyone, but for some reason I just like him. He's just awesome. And then Drax, does have some funny moments, like the part where near the end where he's attacking Ronan's minions, and then he's like I think he's like sort of just like holding his finger to the throat. He's like finger to the throat because that's what Peter said earlier in the jail cell. So I thought it was fucking funny. And then Groot has some of his moments, especially towards near the end where protects everyone from getting hurt in the crash, and he just says, "We are Groot," and it's just like, damn, that's a really good scene right there. And another great scene is like the part where they all like grab the Power Stone and defeat Ronan like that. Because you would assume like they would all die, but no, they all, the power of their teamwork. They were able to beat Ronan with the Power Stone, and I thought that was a really insane scene right there. Like, that was really cool. So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, a really great movie. Like I thought I wasn't gonna like this movie and the second one, but I was wrong. I really did enjoy this one. All right, Captain America, Avengers: Age of Ultron. This one is great. Like I think, like I know this movie, another one is like one of those underrated movies where not really a lot of people talk about this one. Like it's not like it's either the OG Avengers, Infinity War, or Endgame, but none of them really talk about Age of Ultron because, like, I think to me, Age of Ultron like a great movie, but it's just sort of like a step down a bit from Avengers. It's sort of like Iron Man 2, to where Iron Man 2 is a bit of a step down to the first Iron Man. So, but Age of Ultron, it's a great movie. I really do like how like the plots where Tony, thinks that he should build like a robot to where. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. To where Tony should build a robot to help defend mankind, and so when they did that with Bruce Banner, and turns out the robot sort of had its mind of its own, and then that's where he wants to destroy the world instead of help the world. Mostly to destroy the Avengers, but he says also to like sort of like evolve and stuff. Like that's what Ultron's mind's thinking about. It's like that humans should evolve, and that's what he's gonna do. And I really do like that. And then like him, working with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. It's just they don't. They obviously they didn't know about his motives until near the end, where they're like, oh shit, that's what he's gonna do. And that's where they are working with the Avengers, and they have the really cool fight scene in Sokovia, and the one moment where Quicksilver, he sort of gets in the way for Hawkeye because Hawkeye's trying to save a kid, and then Quicksilver gets in the way and he gets shot. And it's like really, it's a sad moment right there because Quicksilver, he was like a really interesting character because sort of like one of those characters that I feel like kind of like makes a little bit of jokes as he's like in the action, like the part at the beginning where he knocks Hawkeye down and he's like, "You didn't see that coming," and then he runs off. It's like really cool. I don't know. I just like about that about Quicksilver, and so and yeah, I think like this movie, it's great. I get why people say it's average and stuff, like why it's like, it's all right or so, but I just find some great moments in here, and so I really don't mind Age of Ultron. So yeah. Next up, Ant Man. Ant Man, I'm gonna put him right there in C rank because I was never really interested in Ant Man. Like I sort of understand his powers because basically it's just a person that transforms into the size of an ant, and that's it. And so I was thinking like, how can I make this interesting? And boy, they did made it interesting. Like him, like Scott, be able to control like the ants, because this is obviously like sort of like the introduction of him trying to like how does everything work. And I really do like how Hank sort of explains to not only Scott but also kind of like the audience as well, to where like how all of this works, to where like how is he like telling the ants to do this and that, and what type of ants are there, and what kind of abilities do they have. And it's just really cool to see that. And then obviously you got the side characters being, one of my favorites is Luis, because it's just like him like recapping all of this stuff. It's just so fucking funny. He's like, yeah, so this happened, and then he was like, oh, blah, 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 like something like that. It's just so funny seeing him on screen, like every time he like tries to recap it. Maybe like even like the other two side characters, I forgot their names, but they're also pretty funny as well. But I think Luis just takes a spotlight for me. And also, you got the fight at the end of Ant Man, to where it's like him versus the Yellow Jacket, and then they're like small, then they're big, then they're small, and then like you got the part where like they're in Cassie's room, and then they're like fighting in like Cassie's little toy set, and then there's a one point to where you have Thomas the Tank Engine coming by, about to run them over, and it's like a really great scene. Like it's like just the effects in there is just awesome. Just seeing like how they were able to do that with like some of like normal objects and to make them bigger and making the character smaller, and so it's just awesome. And so yeah, I think Ant-Man's a good movie. All right, now we move on to the first S tier, being Captain America: Civil War. So, what can I say about Captain America: Civil War? It's so fucking amazing. It's such, well, it's beyond amazing, but oh man, like everything that happens in this movie, especially towards near the end, it sort of makes a huge impact into the MCU because think about it. At first, it's like, oh, Captain America and his gang are like, trying to stop a bad guy being. I forgot what it was his name. I think it was Bone Crusher or something. I forgot the guy's name. It's the guy that he was fighting Falcon in Triskeleton in the Winter Soldier. So he's sort of like the villain at the beginning. And he had them fighting at first, and then Scarlet Witch tries to because he was about to kill himself because he was gonna he was like a bomb, and so Scarlet Witch brings them up, and then unfortunately like it explodes inside a building, and obviously of course it sort of gets General Ross involved in saying hey, this is what people are saying about you guys, they don't like you because they think you guys are vigilantes, and well, you guys are saving lives, you're also losing lives at the same time, and so we need you guys to sort of sign the accord so that way you guys can be working under supervision. And so I find it really interesting, and then seeing like what the characters think, like saying like, hey, do you think we should sign this or no? And Captain America is on the side to where he's like thinking that no, we should, you know, I think like the Avengers should work, you know, freely. Like we should still be a private organization because he feels like he doesn't want to trust anyone else since he did trust its Shield, but it turns out that some of Shield's agents were Hydra, and so he probably didn't want to make the same mistake again. And then Tony's thinking like I think we should work as under supervision because we could be able to save a lot more lives. It's like, sort of like how in Age of Ultron it was just them saving a lot of people, and then they let other people die. And then there was at one point in the movie to where Tony like there was like a woman that talks to Tony and saying like how like her son died in Sokovia because of him. And so I guess that's what sort of makes Tony say, hey, we should sign the Sokovia Accord. I know I'm going a little bit long, but just sort of explaining what's been going on. And then you got the Winter Soldier back again doing his old shenanigans, again doing stuff for Hydra. And he there's a one point where they're like talking about the Accords or so, like T'Challa's dad, and he dies, and T'Challa wants revenge, and he wants to kill Bucky, and Cap's trying to protect Bucky because he's under the mind control of Hydra, and it's just insane. And then once we get to the airport scene where we have all the heroes fighting against each other, my God, they did a great job. Like the choreography in that scene is just so fucking amazing. Because think about it, you got all the heroes fighting against each other because Cap's trying to get away because he's trying to chase the Doctor that is the one behind all of this. But Iron Man says no, we gotta bring you guys in. That's pretty much it why they're fighting. And obviously seeing our boy Spider-Man in there, his first introduction into the MCU, and Black Panther as well, forgot to say that as well, but seeing those two heroes getting introduced in the MCU in this type of story, it's really awesome seeing these two, and that's awesome. Spider-Man's in the MCU, Black Panther's in the MCU, we'll get their own movies. That's amazing. And then obviously towards near the end, you have all three of the characters. You have Captain America, Bucky, and Iron Man. They're all in there. They find Zemo, the villain, and he sort of shows Tony a clip of what happened to his mom and dad, and Bucky obviously killed them, and that's where Tony went from all three of them working together to help stop Zemo to Tony beating the crap out of Cap and Bucky, and it's just a really nice scene right there of those two duking it out because Tony does have his motives. Cap's friend did kill his parents, but again, he doesn't know that he was under the mind control of Hydra, and so Cap's like trying to tell him, but he's just so frustrated and furious at him that he's like, no, your friend did this, and I wanna kill him or hurt him or something like that. So, and also just want to give shout outs to Zemo. I know I should have probably mentioned the villains in some of the movies. Well, I know I mentioned Justin Hammers in Iron Man 2, but I just think Zemo is like a really cool villain, an interesting villain, because even though he doesn't have any powers, I still think like I did like his motives because he also had family that died in Sokovia, and so while he doesn't have enough power, or like he doesn't have the power to stop the Avengers, he can try to make them fight against each other by maybe by sort of like like obviously towards near the end, like he shows Tony the video and then they both start fighting, like him and Cap, and it's just like interesting because it's like I have to sort of tear them apart so that way they sort of like in a way they get payback for what they did in Sokovia. And so I really do want to give props to Zemo on his part in this movie. So yeah, we've been going a lot too much in Civil War, but it's just an amazing movie. Like I could talk about it all day. So yeah, so there's Civil War, and then next up, Doctor Strange. Yeah, we'll put in the beats here. I'm sort of like rearranging them because from right to left is sort of like from least to greatest in a way. So like for example, we got Hulk being the least, to Thor, Dark World being the greatest in a way. So sort of like that for the rest of the tier list. So just sort of like an FYI. But Doctor Strange. So the first time I watched Doctor Strange, I thought it was good. So like if I only watched it the first time, I would have probably put it in the C rank. But after rewatching it again, I kind of changed my mind and decided to put it in the great category because I just like what this movie's trying to do. Like, I really do love the origin story of Stephen Strange, to where he's a neurosurgeon, and then like at some point he was driving somewhere, and then he gets in a brutal car accident. Which again, that when I saw that car accident scene, it's just Jesus Christ. Like, how is this guy still alive? But I mean, still alive. It's just the only thing is that his hands. Something happened with the nerves of his hands, and because of it, having a hard time using them, and so yeah, it sort of like explains that, and then it sort of explains that, and then also like he wants to find a solution on how to fix his hands. He goes to the place, I forget what it's called, but he goes to the place. The Ancient One sort of teaches him the mystic arts and stuff on you know I guess sort of like yeah, he's just like sort of teaching the mystic arts, and then he's like been there for a couple of days, and then he gets a grasp of understanding of what's like how to kind of use his powers a bit, and then sort of like learning more and more. And then of course we got the time stone in there, which he like sort of wears and he uses against like the villains, being Caecilius and his guys, and then of course towards near the end of the movie where he uses it against Dormammu, which oh man, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Like oh my god, like that scene is just it's just I don't know why, it's like it's just so funny. Like it's just him dying a lot, and then him coming like reversing time just so he keeps saying it just so he can convince Dormammu to leave Earth alone. It's just I don't know. It's just bunch of funny and really interesting in a way too, because you would think that Doctor Strange would go ham on this guy. He would try to do as much as he can to stop or destroy Dormammu, but no, he actually just does this type of method, and I thought this was like an interesting method to stop a villain, like just keeping him in a time loop because of the time stone. And so obviously that made Dormammu surrendered, and now Earth's safe again. And then I would definitely want to give this movie props for the visual effects, because the visual effects in this movie is fucking phenomenal. Like from like earlier in the movie where we see the Ancient One using like he's like putting them all of them in the mirror world, and like they're moving the buildings up and down. That was a really cool scene. And then the part where Doctor Strange and Morty, they're like Morty, Mordo, are like running in New York, and then everything's like crazy stuff's happening, and it's just insane. And I really do love the visual effects in that matter in the movie. So yeah, Doctor Strange, a great movie. Definitely would watch it again. Probably the only scene I wouldn't watch is the car accident and like the part where he's in the hospital, because I'm not really a big fan of hospitals, so I'd probably skip that scene. But I mean, it does make sense to why all this stuff happens. So yeah, there's Doctor Strange. Next up, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's gonna go in the amazing category, because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I actually love this movie more than the first one. And I see a lot of people say the first one's better than the second one, but I don't know, I just love the second one a lot more, because I really do love Peter's story arc in this, to where we finally meet who his dad is, and we have Ego, to where he's a Celestial, and then find out that Peter's half a Celestial as well. Like we kind of figured that out, I think, in Guardians 1, but here it sort of goes a bit more in depth about it. And I really do like how, like, like Peter and his dad are like bonding with each other, because he never really had a dad, or like obviously he had a dad, but he didn't know where he went, and so he just had his mom, and his mom died. So it's just awesome seeing those two bonding together. And then you got the characters, we got Drax, he's like hilarious in this one. Like he was a bit hilarious in the first Guardians, but in Guardians 2, he's just like the MVP in this whole movie. It's like him and Baby Groot, because Baby Groot at the beginning of the movie where he's just dancing while all the other Guardians are fighting like that monster thing. It's just like, damn. It's just so fucking funny. I would watch it again and I would never get bored. Same with Drax's comedy in there, to where it's like at one point to where like the Guardians are fighting Ego, and then they're all like sort of like doing like a stand, like sort of like similar to like the Avengers stand, like circle in a way, but it's like with the Guardians. And Mantis gets hit, and then Drax is like, Mantis, look out! After she gets hit, it's just priceless, man. I love that guy. Like that's why I would want to watch Guardians 2 again, because Peter's story arc, the comedy, Drax, Baby Groot, and it's just and also like the side plot with like where Rocket and Baby Groot get stuck in the Ravager ship, because the Ravagers found, like, they find the Guardians, and then they have to bring it in for, I forgot who the person was. It was like the golden lady or so, because like they stole the batteries, and she wants the Ravagers to find the Guardians and bring them back to them. And so it's just, I really did like that side plot, and also like that one part in the ship to where Baby Groot had to get the fin for Yondu, and he keeps getting random stuff. He even got a fucking thumb, which disgusting, but okay. Oh man. And then the ending, which obviously the first time it didn't really hit me that bad, but watching the second time it kind of did hit me. Is Yondu's death, to where Peter and Yondu are escaping from the planet, and then Yondu sort of sacrifices himself, because obviously only one of them can breathe in space, and because they had like one of those things that you could breathe in space, but and Yondu's like, you should take it, because even though I kind of was your daddy, he sort of felt like he was like a shit dad in a way, and so he sacrificed himself. And then the part where like they send the ashes into the galaxy, and all the Ravengers all come together, and they all like sort of like honor his death, like honor his memory and stuff. And it's like really awesome seeing them. Like it's a really powerful scene right there to me. And so yeah, so that's pretty much what I gotta say on Guardians 2. Like, hey, for people that like Guardians 1, that's awesome, but I just prefer Guardians 2 in my opinion. Alright. Spider-Man Homecoming. It's amazing. I love Spider-Man Homecoming, because Spider-Man is one of my favorite heroes of all time. Because I really do love his character, like Peter Parker as a character, and Spider-Man's persona. Like both of their characters are really cool and awesome. Because Peter, he's sort of like a science tech nerd. Well, isn't here he's like a high school, like he's sort of like that as well. But we actually see Peter in high school, like instead of like in the other Spider-Man movies, to where Peter's sort of like he's in high school, but he's like out of high school at that point, whereas in here he's still in high school. And so I really do like him, like sort of going through school life, seeing like how everything's going, and like him interacting with his classmates, like Ned. Like Ned's like another like one of those characters that it's like so funny to watch him and Peter, because like when he finds out that Peter is Spider-Man, he's like asking a lot of questions, and it's just like he's like, hey, I could be your sidekick and stuff, and then he does be his sidekick towards near the end of the movie, and so that's really cool. And Michael Keaton's Vulture, it's like, oh man, like this guy, he's like actually intimidating. Like he may not look intimidating, but he is really intimidating, because like the Vulture's suit, like with the green eyes, it's just like, oh Jesus, like you kind of don't want to fuck with this guy, because you almost killed Peter, because like he like brought him all the way up to the sky, and then he dropped him, and then, well, I don't know, I don't, well actually, I'm not thinking about it, I don't know, because it's been a while since I watched Homecoming, but I don't know, like I think Peter found a way to let go from Vulture's, claw, and then he fell all the way down to the ocean or to the lake, and then Iron Man came by. I think that's what happened, but I'm not sure if Vulture was gonna send Spider-Man to space or so, or something. I don't know, but nevertheless, seeing Tony Stark in here as well, like I thought it's like a really cool addition because in a way, Tony's kind of like Peter's dad because he's sort of like his mentor. He's like sort of like saying, Peter, obviously I give you the suit because you should be like a neighborhood Spider-Man. Leave the big foes to us and just handle like the small foes, around your neighborhood or something like that, like criminals and stuff. And so Peter kind of wants to prove that he wants to be an Avenger, and so he tries to do that. And then there's like that one part to where like after the boat scene, him and Tony are like up on the roof, and Tony's like sort of like in a way yelling at him because he's like, he keeps trying, like Peter just keeps like not following Tony's advice. He's just saying like, I could probably take care of this, and Tony's just like, you can't do this. So you can't do this, Peter. You can't. And then Peter just says that great line, like Peter and Tony's lines, like the part where Tony's like, but if I don't have the suit, like, but I'm nothing without the suit. And then Tony's like, yeah, well, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. And so it's just like so powerful right there because it's like, damn, Peter and Tony as well. But like, damn, like that was like a great powerful scene right there. And then also the shocking twist of where Peter goes to his homecoming's date's house to pick her up, and then it turns out that it's the Vulture. It's just like a great reveal. Like it was just like, damn. Like I was surprised. Like when I saw that for the first time, I was just shocked because like, holy crap! Like is dad. Vulture is the dad all this time, and it just made it so awkward for Peter because he's just processing in his mind like, the guy that I'm supposed to take down, or the guy that I want to take down, he's my homecoming date, or he's my homecoming. Well, my he's my date's dad, essentially. I kind of put it a bit weird because I was trying to find a way how to say it, but yeah, so like that's her dad. Yeah, they like keep asking questions in the car, and then where like the date goes into the homecoming dance, and it's just Peter and the dad, aka Vulture. That's where things get serious, and I'm like, oh shit, what's gonna happen here? And so he kind of like threatens Peter, saying like, hey, listen, you go in there and enjoy yourself. Don't fucking bother me, okay? Like I know what you're trying to do, but don't bother. But Peter's like, nah, I'm gonna go and kick your ass, and they stop him, and then Peter sort of like at one point sort of like he's like helpless because there's at one point where all the rubble's crushing on him, and he's kind of like help, he needs help, but he was able to like try to act like a man and sort of like try to get out of the situation and go after the Vulture. And it's just an amazing movie. I just love this movie because again, Spider-Man's my favorite hero, and just watching this movie, really awesome. I really did enjoy what's the whole premise in this movie is about. All right, Thor Ragnarok. Wait, hold on. Actually, yeah, it's good placement. I was gonna put it in S tier, but I'll keep it in A tier. Uh, yeah, we'll put it right here. Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. Again, like I said earlier, the first two Thor movies were just okay slash meh, but Thor Ragnarok. Oh man, the tone of this movie or the tone of like the whole Thor series got changed in a better way, and oh my god, they knocked it out of the park here, because like they sort of changed Thor's character a bit to where like instead of him being like most of the time just serious, he's like now comedic, and I like that about Thor in this movie. Like his like his just comedic portrayal in this is just so fucking awesome. Like obviously he's still serious, of course, but he does have his funny moments to where like at the beginning, you have that part where he's sort of like hanging in chains, and then I think Surtar or whoever, yeah, Surtar or whatever, is like, Thor, son of Odin, and then he's like saying, Surtar, son of bitch. It's just like a funny moment right there, and then when we get to like the part where Thor and Loki go back to Earth because they have to find Odin, and then Loki gets trapped in like the one of those Doctor Strange portals, and then he goes over to Doctor Strange, talk to him where Odin is, and then where he releases Loki from the portal, he's like, "I've been falling for 30 minutes." Oh man, I forgot to mention this also, but Loki's performance in all the Thor movies, even in the first like in the Avengers, it's just he does such a better job. Like sort of like something that Blake explained yesterday in the tier list. Which, by the way, after you guys watch this, you guys should go watch the previous video slash stream, because that's where Blake and Kevin talk about all their movies. But Tom Hiddleston does a great job portraying the character of Loki. It's just so fun watching him on screen, especially him interacting with Thor, like just those two bonding like a love and hate relationship. It's just so fun. And then later we obviously see Hulk in there. We have the Thor versus Hulk fight scene. That's really awesome. And then Thor's trying to like calm Hulk down, like doing the Black Widow thing, to where he's trying to like calm him down, like saying, "Hey, the sun's getting real low." And then at first we all assumed it's gonna work, but nope, it didn't. He just grabbed Thor, just throw him back and forth. So there's something similar that he did to Loki in Avengers, and Loki's just like, "Yes, that's how it feels." Oh man, fucking awesome. And also, shout out to the characters. Other characters like the Grandmaster. He's such like his dialogue is just pretty funny. Like the way how he says some of the stuff is just it's just very it's interesting but funny. And also Korg and Meek. Like Korg and Meek, come on, man. We gotta get like a Korg and Meek spin-off movie, because these two guys, like it's just so fun watching them. I mean, obviously, Meek obviously doesn't talk. It's just mostly Korg, but just I don't know. It's just funny just seeing Korg in some of the scenes, like the part where Loki, he's like talking to Thor in like the little jail cell, or not jail cell, but sort of like in like the little place, like the little dungeon or whatever that Thor is stuck in there. And then like Loki goes away, and then Korg runs to Loki as he already left, but he's like, "Piss off, Ghost." It's just fucking awesome. It's hilarious. And then also, I will give shout outs to Thor's design here, to where Thor has like a haircut in here, and I really love his haircut. Like I actually love this Thor's look in this one more than the previous movies, in my opinion. I think that's how Thor should look like. Like obviously I know why he shouldn't, because in the comics Thor has long hair and stuff. But I just love his look in this one. Like it just looks so cool. He looks so badass in here. And then obviously the fight scene near the end, where Thor's fighting like all the other, like fighting Hela's minions. It's just fucking awesome. The part where he has lightning coming out of his fists and he's like fighting everything. Ah, such a great, it's such an amazing movie. Like if you guys haven't watched Thor Ragnarok or all these movies, obviously you should all watch them. But Thor Ragnarok is just, you gotta watch it again and again. It's such a fucking awesome movie. Really, really good. Wow. Alright, Black Panther. I'm gonna put it in the great section. Because Black Panther, I didn't really get attached to Black Panther. Like, it was awesome seeing him in Captain America Civil War, but having his own solo movie here, it's like, okay, so I guess we'll learn more about Wakanda and what's his character about, what all the other characters are about, and I think the people, like the directors, did a really great job with this movie, to where it sort of captures like a character that I'm not really familiar with, and make him like a great hero in a way. Well, like he's like a great hero, because obviously his dad dies, and now he's sort of like the new king of Wakanda. He obviously has the Black Panther suit, to where he sort of helps defend Wakanda and stuff, and that's really cool. And then we find out that I think Claw still has the vibranium and stuff, and they try to go, or no, I forgot I forgot, because like they went to Japan to like some sort of place to where they were gonna trade. I think it was like a spear or something like that. I don't quite remember. It's been a while, so just I know some people are gonna fry me in the comments saying like, "Oh wow, such an MCU fan right there, doesn't even know most of what's going on in some of these movies." But I'll try my best. I'll try my best. But it was something like a spear or so, and like the action scene right there, I thought it was pretty cool. Like like because one of the people found out about Okoye's identity, and then that's where they're like, "Oh shit," they know we're onto them, and now they like fighting against each other. And that was a cool fight scene. And then the part where like it has like a cool car chase scene to where Zuri is like driving in like a virtual car, like in her part, like because she's still in Wakanda, but like she's like pretending she's in the driver's seat. Like it's just like a car just driving by itself, and then Black Panther's kind of on it, like chasing Claw and the other guys. So I thought it was a really cool scene right there, like him testing out the vibranium or like the abilities of his suit, where like it like sort of keeps the potential energy and it releases. And I thought that was a really cool moment right there. And then Killmonger, I thought he was a really great villain because he lost his dad because of T'Challa's dad, because he sort of in a way betrayed the family. And so because of that, that's where Killmonger is like, I think I should be king of Wakanda, not T'Challa, because his dad is the murderer of my dad, and I should take over Wakanda. And not only that, but also we should go around the world and sort of like proving that we are the strong nation of Wakanda and stuff. And so I really do like Killmonger's motives, and also shout out to Michael B. Jordan for playing this character, because he does a great job playing as Killmonger here. And I really do like his character and his personality a bit. So he's like more serious, and then the part where him and T'Challa are fighting in like the waterfall, and then he kills Zuri, and then he like throws T'Challa off the waterfall. Like damn, like that's just kind of didn't see that coming, but I should have seen it coming, because I felt like something like this would happen to where he actually would win and be king of Wakanda. And so it's just like damn, like that's just insane. But yeah, I mean Black Panther is such a great movie nonetheless. Probably watch it like again. Like I feel like in the great category, these are like movies I would watch like again and again and again. But like compared to A and S's, I would watch a lot and never get bored. Whereas these, I would watch maybe like I would say 6, 7 times or 8 times, and then that's about it. Because they're such great movies. Well, maybe besides maybe a little bit with Iron Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, but other than that, I think these movies are just so great. They're still great at the end of the day. That's all that matters. All right, now we get to the big one: Avengers: Infinity War. That's going down here. No, I'm joking. It's going up here in the God tier. Cause what can I say about Infinity War? Like Infinity War is such fucking amazing. It's so good. Like I love everything about this movie. The choreography in this movie is so good. Because at the beginning, we have like Thanos attacking the ship that Thor and Hulk were in. Like pretty much Thor and all the Asgardians were in. Like at the end of Thor Ragnarok. I forgot to explain that, but they get attacked and by Thanos and his crew, and they take the space stone, and he sort of goes around. Like Thanos gets the reality stone, and then his minions go to Earth and get the mind and time stone. And it's just I really do like the setup here to where they sort of like split up, kind of like in teams in a way, to where mostly it's like with Tony's team, to where we have Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, because they're both stuck in the ship, and you have like really cool interactions between Tony and Strange, to where like Strange. To where Strange is like, we should head home, but Tony's like, nah, we have to take the fight to Thanos, because he sent an army to New York a couple of years ago, and I don't want to let it happen again. So let's go over to Titan and take him down. And so I like that. I really do like how Tony's like, he doesn't want to deal with that shit again. So let's take it on his home turf. And so they all go to Titan, and then they meet up with some of the Guardians. Like we got Star Lord, Drax, and Mantis, and then Thanos shows up, and then we have a really great fight scene of them all fighting, all helping each other, trying to take down Thanos. And then it's just awesome seeing like Thanos using the different types of Infinity Stones on them. Like I think he uses the Power Stone to obviously break free from the giant rock that Tony pushed into there. And then when he's like fighting against Strange, where Strange like multiplies himself into a lot of Stranges and capture his gauntlet, Thanos uses the Reality Stone to see which one is the real Strange. And that's really awesome seeing like how he uses the different types of stones to beat the heroes. So that's awesome. And then also you got back on Earth, you got the Battle of Wakanda, to where all the where Captain America, Black Widow, Bucky, Falcon, War Machine, Hulk, and the Hulkbuster, Black Panther. They're all like, trying to defend Vision because they're trying to get the Mind Stone out of Vision. And so obviously like Thanos' minions are like trying to get the stone, and so we have like a big war down there, and it's awesome seeing those characters fighting against like another army invasion. And obviously they're struggling, and then we got Thor, Rocket, and Groot coming in, and got that Avengers theme playing, and it's just fucking awesome. Like, we're going all in with this, and Thor just runs up to them, and he's like, "Bring me Thanos!" And man, like, and then obviously at the end of the movie where Thanos snaps, and then all some of the characters that we love die. Unfortunately, it's just fucking sad because it's like, damn, like Thanos actually did it. He actually accomplished his mission, unlike all the other villains. Like, some of the villains were either close to accomplishing it or not at all. But Thanos actually was able to accomplish his mission, and it's just like, damn, like this is what happens. And obviously we don't get to see what else. We don't like, we get to see more of it in Endgame, but we'll get to Endgame in like 2 movies after Infinity War. But nonetheless, Infinity War is such awesome. It's really an amazing film. All right, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm gonna put it in the great category because Ant-Man and the Wasp, like, again, with the first Ant-Man, it was good. I liked Ant-Man. I liked everything about it, or most things about it. But Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think, in my opinion, it does a lot of things better than the first Ant-Man. Like, I think the comedy in here is a lot more funnier. I really do like kind of the story of what's going on here, to where Hank is trying to bring back Hope's mom back from the quantum realm, and they try to get everything ready to bring her back. But obviously we have another villain in there. Well, kind of a villain, which it's Ghost, because she wants to use, I think, the quantum realm to sort of help her fix her problem, which I think is like her cells are sort of like separating from her body in a way, because of it she keeps fading and stuff. And so you kind of feel her pain, because like both, because she wants to save herself, whereas Hank and the others are trying to save someone else. So it's sort of like in one of those situations where it's like, we gotta save our beloved someone, but there's someone else that wants to use it because they want to save themselves, because they're in pain, and they're suffering, and that's kind of why they need to use Hank's invention to help the trick. And again, Luis, once again, he takes the spotlight once again, just like in the first Ant-Man. And just that scene where like the truth serum toy is like sort of explaining how he meets Scott and all that, and then sort of like some things that happen in Iron Man and Ant-Man, but really didn't. I mean, there were some scenes that did happen in Ant-Man, but not a lot. And it's just awesome seeing him recapping all of it. It's just so fucking funny. And then them talking with Sonny's guys, like saying like, hey, this is truth serum, and then they're like denying it's not truth serum. And then later in the movie, like Louis puts the truth serum into them, and then one of them like obviously spills, like pretty much all of them spill like the truth. And the guy that was denying it wasn't truth serum says, oh, actually it is truth serum. It's just like fucking awesome. And then the fight scenes, especially towards like the near the end of the movie, like the car chase scene, like you have Ant-Man and the Wasp trying to like bring the lab somewhere safe, whereas Ghost is trying to go after it because trying to save herself, and then Sonny and the others are going after the lab because I guess they want to check it out, or probably want to do something with it. I don't know what it is, but pretty much just like a big car chase right there. And then just seeing like them shrinking the car, trying to get away. Louise, I think he uses like a Hot Wheel to get away. It's fucking awesome. And then it's like, I really do love, like, again, the effects here, sort of like what they did with Ant-Man. They did it a little bit much better here in Ant-Man and the Wasp, in my opinion. And it's just awesome seeing like Scott and Hope, like their relationship together, because we obviously saw a little bit of that near the end of the movie in Ant-Man, but Ant-Man and the Wasp is just like a little bit more, to where it's like these two really have great chemistry with each other, and they're both like seeing both of them fighting to get like fighting as a team, like working together to help Hope's mom get out of the quantum realm and stop people that are getting in their way. It's really awesome seeing that. All right. Next up, Captain Marvel. I'm gonna put Captain Marvel in the C category. I think Captain Marvel's good. It's a good movie, but I don't know. It's just I just think to me, I think like it's like not that memorable to me. Like there's some memorable moments, but at the same time, there's really not that memorable things. Mostly it's because like I think it's mostly has to do with the main villain in this movie because well, the main villain was like sort of like an interesting plot twist to where the guy that was helping Carol at the beginning, trying to kind of train her to fight, is also the bad guy, and I don't know. It's just I don't remember his name. I don't remember his personality a little bit. Like he was like I think he was a more serious, but I don't know. I haven't seen Captain Marvel in a while, but I really should probably watch it just so that I could sort of have an understanding. But nonetheless, I think Captain Marvel, the movie, it has a lot of great moments. It sort of like shows like stuff like it's like it takes place in the 1990s. We see young Nick Fury. We see Phil Coulson. It's sort of like what the hell's going on here? And then Carol's like, she's from like another place, and sort of explain. It's sort of like similar to like Thor, to where it's like, but she's obviously a human, of course, and she was obviously been to Earth. It's just sort of her mind's just erased, and so she's just like not familiar with Earth as she was before. She was like taken and was mind controlled. And so yeah, obviously seeing both Captain Marvel and Nick Fury's interactions together is just really cool. Seeing because they have a good relationship, not like like couple relationship, but just like buddy and cop type of thing. And then we have like the Tesseract. We see the Tesseract because it was like in one of the lunch boxes or whatever. And I think it had to do with Carol because I think it was that sort of gave Carol her powers. I think it was like that because I know they got into a crash. They got into like a plane crash or so with her and someone else, and then I think like she got like the Tesseract or something like that, and then like it exploded, and that's where she got the powers, and then she got knocked out, and then one of the guys that are after, I think is the main bad guy. I forgot the guy's name, but he like gets her and brings her to space and stuff, and that's pretty much it. And so, but I still think it's a good movie because of that plot twist, and then also, again, we thought the Skrulls were the bad guys, but no, it turns out they're actually the good guys, and just seeing their interactions, it's cool. Like I really do like the Skrulls, and obviously we see him till Spider-Man: Far From Home. Well, the post-credit scene of Far From Home. So yeah, Captain Marvel is just a good movie. I don't mind watching it just like a couple of times, but then I think that's about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it on Captain Marvel. All right, the other big one, a second putter to Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. It's going in the S tier because oh my god, like this movie, it's like Civil War to where everything that happens in there and towards near the end, it makes a big impact in the MCU. And same thing with Endgame and Infinity War. Like, Infinity War as well too, but Endgame a lot bigger than those two movies combined, in my opinion, because oh boy, I mean, obviously it's just like we see the characters. It's been like 2 weeks since the events of Infinity War. Tony is still in space with Nebula, and Captain Marvel, she eventually finds them and she brings them back to Earth. And then they're like, well, we gotta find out where Thanos is. They go to the planet where Thanos is at, but they all sort of gang up on him. Turns out that Thanos destroyed the Infinity Stones with the stones because they were too powerful. And he accomplished his mission, so it's like, what else can he do? So he's just sort of like chilling there. And damn, and then Thor just chops his head off because Thanos did say in Infinity War, you have to go for the head. You should have gone for the head, and it's just like, damn, Thor, a little bit too late. But yeah, the heroes get back to Earth, and it's been 5 years since Infinity War happened until we get to the actual plot of Endgame, and I was utterly surprised because I was thinking, really, 5 years? Like all this time for 5 years, I didn't do anything. I mean, I guess because again, Scott came out of the quantum realm like 5 years later, and oh yeah, I also forgot to mention this in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but like the post-credit scene, Scott goes back to the quantum realm because I guess he needed to experiment with something, and then before he gets sent back out, Hope, Hank, and her mom, they got snapped because of Thanos, and because of that, Scott got stuck in the quantum realm for pretty much 5 years. Even though he did say that for him it was 5 hours. So yeah, and then also just because of a fucking rat, just like chilling, walking around, and then he's able to free Scott from the quantum realm. So a lot of people say, oh well, it's because Tony saved the universe. Oh, it's because Captain Marvel saved the universe or Ant Man. No, it's actually a rat. If it's actually the rat that saved the universe because if the rat didn't free Scott, then none of the heroes would have had the idea to use the quantum realm and go back in time to get the Infinity Stones. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Why a lot of people say it's kind of like the rats, kind of like a random rat just saved the universe because he set Scott free, and that's where they all come up with the plan to time travel. And so yeah. And going back to the 5 years thing, I kind of didn't like how it took 5 years. I mean, I guess why they said 5 years because again the heroes didn't really had anything to do, and Tony obviously did had a daughter because they were talking about it a little bit in Infinity War to where Tony and Pepper were saying like, hey, we should probably have like a kid or so, and they have a kid, and I guess maybe that's why they're like, okay, well, we kind of have to establish Tony's daughter a bit in here in Endgame because they were talking about it in Infinity War, so we got to set it up in Endgame. So we'll just have it set it for 5 years later. So like I could understand for that, but I don't know. I just wish it was kind of like a year later because it would have made a lot of sense to me. Like if it was like 1 year later, then I could be like, all right, fair enough. And then another thing I kind of don't like about this movie is probably Fat Thor. Like I understand why Thor's like that because he's sort of like frustrated and he's like depressed about what happened in Infinity War because he thought that he let everyone down. If he did one thing, he would have saved everyone, but he just failed and he's like in a drunken state. He's just like destroyed in himself and like I felt bad for him, but I mean at the same time I just didn't like his design of him being Fat Thor. But that's just kind of like one thing I didn't like about Endgame is like that, and also the 5 year gap thing. Kind of wish it was a year, but again, I already said why. But yeah, so all the heroes go back in time. They go to their respective time periods, 2012 to the Avengers to get the Mind Stone, the Time Stone, and the Space Stone. They go to Thor: The Dark World in Asgard to get the Reality Stone, and then they go back to Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, to go to Morag and Vormir to get the Soul Stone and the Power Stone. And so mostly like in 2012, like in the Avengers part, like you see like the heroes you know like Tony and Scott go get the Space Stone from the Tesseract, and then Cap go get I can't even talk. Captain America gets the Mind Stone from the case that the Hydra agents have. And at first I didn't really get it, but now I did because it's like sort of in a way because Captain America is like kind of like pretending that he's working with Hydra, so that's why when he said "Hail Hydra," they were like, "All right, we'll give him the staff because he's working with us." So yeah, and it's interesting because he didn't know that these guys were Hydra because he thought they were just regular Shield agents, but no, they were actually Hydra, and he actually got away with it. So that's really cool. And then you got him fighting against Captain America, like fighting like Captain America did in Smash. Just them fighting against each other, and then he mentions to the other one saying Bucky's alive, and then is able to break Scott free. It's just awesome. Like everything like in Endgame they did right. Like the whole time sequence is right, and then probably the sad thing that I kind of didn't like, but it made sense is the part where Black Widow sacrificed herself so that Hawkeye can get the Soul Stone. Which like I was sad because it's like damn, I wish we would have seen Black Widow more in the MCU. I mean, we always saw her a lot, and we're getting a Black Widow solo movie this year, but I just wish we would have saw her like after Endgame, like see like what would her role what would her role be after Endgame. But no, she died because she's like we gotta save the universe, and only one of us can get the stone, so I'll sacrifice myself so that way you get the Soul Stone and bring back everyone back. And so it was sad. And then we get to the big one, the big act of the movie that's like fucking awesome, and oh boy, it gets it gets chills down my spine when I see this. But it's obviously the part where Thanos comes back, 2014. He gets back to the present. He's like, all right, go get the Infinity Stones and all that. And Captain America versus Iron Man and Thor, they're all duking it out. They're getting their ass destroyed, and then at one point, Thor's getting, he's like having a hard time beating Thanos, and then Captain America throws Mjolnir. Well, he picks it up and then he throws it, and then it's just the shock of him, grabbing Mjolnir is like it's like another great moment right there. It's just like, damn, he's able to do it. Because in Age of Ultron, there was like that one scene to where they were all picking up the hammer. Like, they were trying to see who could pick up the hammer, and when Captain America picked up the hammer, or like try to pick up Mjolnir, it like sort of shaked a little bit. So in a way, he's kind of is worthy, but it's just not yet. And then in Endgame, we finally see that, and damn, this is a really great scene, like using Mjolnir and the shield to beat Thanos, and he did a really great job at it. Like, he was actually kicking Thanos' ass, and then he got his ass handed to him, and then Thanos summons his army, and then when Captain America's like, shit, I gotta try to take these guys down on my own, because Iron Man and Thor are down, so I'll try to see what I can do, and then oh man, when we get that one scene where Falcon's like, Cap, on your left, and then we get Black Panther and the Wakandans coming out of the portal, and then everyone else coming out. It's just, oh my god, like, like let's fucking go. It's just awesome seeing all the heroes, all the people coming out of the portals, all getting ready to fight this one final battle. Which, I mean, obviously it may not be a final battle, but I just sort of felt like it kind of was a final battle. And then the part where Cap's like, Avengers! Assemble, and then everyone all start charging right at him. It's just like, oh my fucking god, let's go. Let's go. Like, oh man, we're about to get into some real big stuff here. And it's just the fight scenes going back and forth, like seeing all the characters fighting against Thanos' army. It's so great. Seeing Tony and Peter being like, like Peter sees it. Tony's like sort of explaining what happened, and then Tony, he hugs Peter because it's been like so long since he hasn't seen him, and it's awesome. And then a funny scene also, like where Peter Quill finds Gamora, and then he's sort of like, oh my god, it's been so long, and then Gamora kicks him in the balls. It's just funny, and then Nebula's like, well, it's either that or a tree, so a really cool scene. And then we kind of find out that Scarlet Witch is actually a powerful Avenger. I mean, she still is a powerful Avenger, but like that scene right there sort of explains that she really is the powerful like hero out of all of them, because she was able to pick out Thanos. And think about it, if it was an Infinity War to where you had the parts with the saw blades, you gotta kill Thanos right there, and then boom, there you go, we would have won. But that's just insane. And then obviously, Captain Marvel shows up, they help the heroes fight Thanos, they try to get the Infinity Stones back in time, but Thanos destroys the time machine. So now they're all like trying to they're trying to like, they're sort of like playing football with the gauntlets, where they all keep passing the gauntlet to each other, from Hawkeye to Black Panther, to Black Panther to Spider-Man, to Captain Marvel, and then then we have like Tony versus Thanos. They fight, and then Thanos gets the gauntlet. He tries to do a snap, doesn't work. Tony gets the Infinity Stones, and then he says, "I am Iron Man," and then he snaps. Well, he says, "I am Iron Man," like that. But you guys know what you mean, because you guys saw Endgame, so. Well, at least I assume you guys saw Endgame. But if you didn't, then go watch it right now. But yeah, Tony dies, which obviously it's like really fucking sucks, because again, we started the MCU off with Iron Man, with Tony Stark, and just seeing Tony Stark die in Endgame is just, damn, like that's just, it just fucking hurts. Like it hurts so big. Like when me and Blake, we were watching Endgame, we both like teared up a bit, because it's just like, fuck, man, like Tony's dead. Like how is this gonna, like what's gonna happen from here on out for the MCU? And it's just, damn, dude. We have the funeral scene, all the characters are there, and Captain America goes back in time, and he stays at his own time with Peggy. He finally gets to dance with Peggy, and it's another great scene right there. Like, yeah, Cap really did kept his promise to Peggy, saying, "I will go back for that dance." And it's just, Endgame is just so fucking good. Like again, like I know I went on so long with Endgame, and I do apologize for that, but Endgame is just so fucking special. It's like that, Infinity War, and Captain America Civil War. Those are like the most god tier slash big important movies to the MCU, in my opinion. And honestly, a part of me kind of wish Endgame was like the last MCU movie because it kind of felt like it was like the finale. Like everything was leading up to this, and just seeing Tony die, Black Widow die, Captain America go back in time, and all the other Avengers doing their own thing is just like it's kind of like a farewell to the MCU. But obviously, we're still continuing on with more MCU movies, and that's really great because obviously the next MCU movie we get, and it's the last one. Well, for now, I mean, obviously we're still getting more, but this is the recent one that came out, which came out last year. Spider-Man: Far From Home. It's gonna go in amazing for me. I know some people say Homecoming's better than Far From Home. I was kind of debating on that at first, but I sort of changed my mind and I was thinking, you know what? I think Far From Home is better than Homecoming a bit, and the reason why I say that is because I really do like Mysterio as a villain more than Vulture. Like, don't get me wrong, the revelation, like the shocking revelation of him being the dad of Peter's homecoming date is it's really shocking. But I just love Mysterio as a villain. I think he's like a really interesting villain because kind of like the first half, he's kind of like a good guy to where Peter sees him as a good guy. You know, he says like, "Oh, I come from the multiverse. You know, I'm here to stop these elementals, and I kind of need your help, Peter." We stop them, and then there's like that one scene in the bar to where Peter's saying, "Nah, you should take Tony Stark's glasses because I think it would make sense for you." And so yeah, I think like he does make a great Tony Stark, and then the second half, Tony, it turns out Mysterio is obviously a bad guy. He's sort of like, "Hey, we got the glasses. Now we can do some real stuff." And so it's just like I really do love the choreography in this movie. Same thing with Endgame and Infinity War, but here as well, like seeing like Peter trying to like there was like that one scene where Peter is trying to where he's like like he's in like the building, and then like Mysterio sort of manipulating him into different illusions, and it's just like the effects in there, it's awesome. Like I really do enjoy the effects in there. And then he uses them again later in the movie towards near the end of the final battle with Mysterio, and it's another great scene right there. So yeah, that's pretty much it on Spider-Man: Far From Home for amazing. I could go on more, but my voice is getting tired, and we've been going on way too long. So that's my definitive MCU tier list right there. So if you guys think it's a great tier list, then let me know in the comments. If you guys disagree with the tier list, then let me know in the comments as well. So again, if you guys want to check out Kevin and Blake's MCU tier list, thoughts, then watch the previous video. That's like check out the video that was there, because there's like two videos that says TLG's MCU tier list. Like watch that one to watch Kevin and Blake's MCU tier list. So go check it out. And yeah, I thought it was really fun doing this. We all wanted to do it, and we done it, and yeah, really awesome. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. And if you guys want us to do more tier lists in the future, then let us know, and we'll be happy to do more tier lists. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.